Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds, owner of Mint Mobile, with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
New activation and upfront payment for 3-month plan required. Taxes and fees extra. Additional restrictions apply. See mintmobile.com for full terms.
'Tis the season to shine with H&M. Discover the holiday collection and find fashionable pieces for your wardrobe or for under the tree. Get inspired and dazzle with this year's glam. From tuxedo styles, bow detailed pieces, impressive prints, and more. From unforgettable looks to unforgettable gifts. With fashion finds to home decor, find it all at H&M. Treat your loved ones and yourself this season. Shop in-store or at hm.com.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Not only have I been the owner of Mint Mobile for the last few years, I've also been a customer. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities, so do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
New activation and upfront payment for 3-month plan required. Taxes and fees extra. Additional restrictions apply. See mintmobile.com for full terms.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Selling a little or a lot? Do your thing however you cha-ching with Shopify, the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout. 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms. Get a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/offer23.
'Tis the season to shine with H&M. Discover the holiday collection and find fashionable pieces for your wardrobe or for under the tree. Get inspired and dazzle with this year's glam. From tuxedo styles, bow detailed pieces, impressive prints, and more. From unforgettable looks to unforgettable gifts. With fashion finds to home decor, find it all at H&M. Treat your loved ones and yourself this season. Shop in-store or at hm.com.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Selling a little or a lot? Do your thing however you cha-ching with Shopify, the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout. 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms. Get a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/offer23.
So I think it's just really appreciating and understanding where your partner is at whatever moment is and supporting that, even if it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
If you're not feeling well, you got to be supportive of that person just as the same as if they're doing well.
Yeah. Hey girl, imagine a life where you feel supported, connected, and understood. I get it. Being a mom is hard, especially when you're spinning so many plates. We exhaust ourselves trying to create the perfect life for our family. You deserve to enjoy your family without the stress perfectionism brings. On this podcast, I provide practical and relatable life experiences. I teach women quick and easy to use strategies to help them reclaim their identity, reignite their marriage, and enjoy their children. If you're ready to be challenged, then pull up a chair, grab pen and paper because it's about to go down. I'm Veronica Cisneros, a licensed marriage and family therapist, and this is the Empowered and Unapologetic podcast. Hey ladies, welcome to Empowered and Unapologetic. I'm your host, Veronica Cisneros. And today I'm super excited because I have friends on here who are also people that I've coached. And I'm super excited because I have no idea where we're going to go in this interview. I don't have questions. It's just going to be a conversation. I could already see Nate sweating. So let's just go. So Nate and Alejandra, please introduce yourselves.
We are the Urbanowskis. We've been married for 7 years. 7 years and together for 10. We have 3 kids, 22, 10, and 6, all boys.
Nice. So the reason why I wanted you guys to come on is right now there's a huge struggle with couples. It seems like with the pandemic, not only have we had to struggle with that alone and trying to build our families and trying to come up with what is best for our family, but one thing I've noticed is couples are really, really struggling with communication, with connection, and with just having conversations. And it's really difficult, so much so that now I'm finding them more and more in couples therapy. And you have one of them that has one foot in and the other one that has one foot out. And Alejandra, her and I are high school friends. And I started Empowered and Unapologetic about 2 years ago. And we hadn't talked for a while. And she ended up joining the group. She ended up attending my retreat and then the VIP group. And the results were crazy. Just seeing how fast she was able to pick things up and really, truly implement the skills. And I watched not only her grow, but also the relationship between her and her husband. I'm not saying that it was bad in the beginning, because it wasn't, but it just seemed like it connected you guys on a different level. You know, you guys were already good, but it just seems like the conversations, the communication, the way you guys were with each other and the way you loved, Alejandra, that's the biggest thing, is you being able to be vulnerable and open and connected. So just kind of watching that grow. And I want to be able to help as many couples as possible. And so hence the reason why I wanted to make sure I brought you guys on.
Right. After being in the group and him encouraging me to grow.
Yeah.
He's been kind of my biggest advocate for the group.
Yeah.
His friends or coworkers, you know, my wife is a part of this group. You know, I think it's really great for women. You know, it helps them to grow, to find themselves, you know, and he's just been a major supporter of the group. You know, he has a loving little name for it. But he's like, yeah, you know, everybody should be in this group. It's really good. So, you know, everything that we go through in the group, you know, I kind of talk it over with him and ask him, you know, like, oh, you know, like where do you see yourself in 5 years? And we sit down and we do the exercises and stuff like that. We haven't really done too many of the couples ones because he's been traveling a lot. Mm-hmm. So those are other things that, you know, we have been experienced with him traveling. And, you know, this month on the couples questions, you know, some of it was like, you know, what's your role as a wife? Mm-hmm. You know, sometimes I wear both hats.
Yeah.
Because he's gone. And so I have to do everything around the house and arrange for everything. And, you know, that's the way I was before. So it was really hard for me coming into this relationship from that toxic one previously. You know, he was like, well, you know, this relationship is a lot different. You know, he's, you know, if I was out, you know, too long, oh, I'm so sorry. You know, the way that I acted at the beginning still comes in every once in a while. But I would get into like a panic mode, you know, and he's like, I'm not, you know, okay, so you're late. Okay. You know, so it was like really hard to transition out of that kind of like a fear or anxiety state to like kind of relax, you know, and, oh, okay, this isn't that type of relationship.
Yeah.
So coming from that type of relationship and being in this healthier one was a transition. And then learning how to argue where I'm not like, you know, in combat mode, you know, his arguing is more of a relaxed, you know, discussion mode, you know, does he have anger? Yeah, you know, but he's not like, you know, like stomping around and, you know, acting like that. You know, we're both in a heightened sense of emotion. Mm-hmm. So, you know, the discussion is a little different than when we're discussing something else. But we're not in that mode where we used to be in the different relationships where things were just crazy and chaotic.
Yeah. So how would you both define marriage? And I just, wherever you guys go, totally putting you guys on the spot. I know.
Partnership for me. That's what the marriage is a partnership, kind of bounce ideas off the other person, where we are in life. Where do we plan on going? Not just doing whatever I want to do, considering the other person's feelings and goals.
I think marriage, to define it, definitely isn't just two people who love each other and want to be together.
Yeah.
But people who are supportive of each other's goals and always looking at that, looking at their goals, not just yours. And of course, you can't always do that, but we definitely have that discussion enough, right? And that's the same thing going with our kids, is that you want people around you that are supportive of you, that want to push you in the right direction. And that's what we want to do as a marriage. And then compounding on that, right? Adding to that, I mean, going to be parents, right? That's what we want to get into our kids, is that you really just want people around you who are supportive. Yeah,
absolutely. So what would, if you guys can share your story, what's your story? And for most couples, it's, we got together, fell in love, and then we just kind of allowed time to pass and issues would come up, and, we relied on time to patch things up. What was your guys' story? How did you guys get together? How'd you guys meet? And take me through your guys' story.
He is my cousin's best friend, but I think I've stolen him away. So he was in my life since I was like 16 years old. Okay. He was like the annoying older brother, hanging around all the time. And then we've seen each other through our previous relationships. I've known his ex-wife, his ex-girlfriends. He's known my ex-husband. He's known my ex-boyfriends. So we kind of have, been together as friends for a really long time. And then when our relationships were ending, or over, I should say, we were just kind of in a similar boat, just kind of like, oh my goodness, our life is completely just at ground zero. We're just have to start all over again. So similar paths were there. And then we decided to get together, and he moved down here. He was up in LA area. And so this is where he was from. So where I met him anyways, he was actually from San Diego, deeper down. But, and then, so we got together and, just kind of built from there. We've had really, really amazing years. We were just kind of just existing, I guess, kind of just not doing anything, no motion. And then, we were going through my divorce at that time. So there wasn't really anything that was like active and, just us as a family. And then, he started to like, grow in his career. And that kind of pushed me. I was just, I was happy, I was comfortable, and then he started pushing me like, hey, you should do this. You should set these goals for the company. You should do this. And it got me reinvigorated because I had been there for 21 years now. So it was just kind of like old hat, I'm cruising along, just keeping the place going. And it got me in an ambitious state again, because I think I was just kind of like, personal life was going down. Professional life was just there. So he and I pushed each other to just, further his career. So he started doing like training videos, for his company, and just really launching himself at that point. Yeah. It helped to reignite me.
Yeah. Most women feel as if as long as they wait for their husband to go ahead and start to create change, things will automatically change versus taking it upon themselves to really start the process, not necessarily for the marriage, but for themselves. And the benefit is, you feeling more connected, more open, and more authentic in your marriage. How was it for you when you started working on yourself and really, truly, identifying who you were outside of being a mom, outside of being a wife? What was it about that process that really enhanced your marriage?
I think it took us different places. He was hiking on his own. He was doing things on his own, like finding, what's my next hobby, and I'm just kind of like, I'm taking care of the kids. I'm, taking care of them now, really. And when I joined the group, I set goals for myself, and it really ended up being goals for my family. Ignoring vacations for the longest time, he was the one that, said, we're going on this vacation. We're going on this cruise. My mom is taking us. And I'm like, a week off? No, I can't do that. I can take a couple days, but no, you're taking the week. And I'm like, okay. So that was my first step into vacations. And then, my goal was 4 vacations per year, even if it's just local. We did Big Bear, we did Palm Springs, we did, all Julian, we're starting to, even during these COVID times where we thought we were just trapped, we just figured out ways to still travel and do things and still be kind of on our own program, not with crowds and things like this. So that to me, was how it just kind of rippled. My goals for me just kind of spread to the rest of the family. I think it made for a happier family for sure.
Yeah. Nate, for most men, they tend to go ahead and, I don't want to say it's this level of intimidation, but they start to see change in their wife. They start to see some form of growth, and they don't necessarily know what to do with it, especially when a wife says, hey, you know what? I want to work on my marriage. Oftentimes, what I've seen is the man will say, well, nothing's really wrong. I mean, are we going to get a divorce? Like, it's not that bad. Why do we need to work on the marriage? For you, why was it important that you were there to support your wife instead of try to prevent her from working on it?
I don't think that was really a question for me.
Yeah.
I do kind of understand the question, but for me personally, it really isn't an option, right? We're together, we're one, and the better she is, the better we're going to be. I think I do understand that potential fear.
Yeah.
That if she betters herself, that maybe she wouldn't want to be with me, but I don't have control over that. And it would seem like if I was trying to stifle her progress, that would be doing nothing but me controlling her. And that's not going to be beneficial for either one of us, not fun for me and not beneficial for her. So what I'm looking for is the better she is, the better we are.
Yeah.
And it just kind of cycles from her to me, from me to her. And we've definitely seen that in the past years, we've seen where there's times where I'm more productive in trying to better myself. And then she sees that and wants to kind of get in that groove, and then vice versa, where she's doing better and maybe I'm kind of in a slump and not trying to better myself in whichever way, right? That could be anything from weight loss to career to eating better to whatever it is, all those things.
I'm glad you mentioned for you automatically knew that if Alejandra worked on herself, then it's going to benefit the marriage. What would you say to the men, to the husbands that are listening right now? What would you say to them? Why is it important that women start this process? Why is it important? Here's an even better question. Why is it important women reclaim their identity to reignite their marriage?
That's a lot of pressure first.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really think we could just sit on that idea of a better woman is a better family. Right? I think I was raised with that idea that women are powerful, that women can help this world, right?
Mm-hmm.
That can help our family unit to begin with, right? The mom is always the boss, right? Mom is the boss is the phrase we use around here, right? Kind of being silly. But the better mama is, right? The better she is for us as a unit. And I just don't have a fear at all of her being successful without me. The idea here is strictly we are successful together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's our overall goal. And whatever it takes for her to get that way, to get to that point, that's seeking outside help. If that's seeking help from me, if that's just something as simple as a hobby or exercising or whatever the case may be, it just seems pretty straightforward that the better each of us are, the better we're going to be together. And the only, I think, additional piece of that is if I lived in fear of her being better for herself and then wanting to not do that without me, there's no way I could control that at all. If she's going to go somewhere else in her life, be elsewhere in her life, and that doesn't include me, there's nothing I can do that can stop her. So my goal is to have the expectation that we're going to be together
Mm-hmm.
forever, right? That's the plan, and stick with making that a successful plan.
Yeah. What are some hurdles you find with men? Like just kind of, with your friendships and watching, other couples, because right now we're at the age where pretty much everybody's married. As a couple, what are you starting to notice with regards to like their relationships and how maybe a man pulls back?
I think that's tough for me because the male friends that I have are good in their relationships. They seek to better their family, seek to better their wife, and really try to work to help them.
Yeah.
I definitely have some maybe work friendships that I've seen some struggles there.
Yeah.
And it's our conversations are always at that point. If you know that it's not good and you can't be successful there, then strictly better yourself.
Yeah.
Whatever it's going to take to do that now, let's start heading that direction. And it's really, that's where the goal is. I've always kind of had this silly mantra of you only get one chance in life and you need to do it where you're happy.
Yeah.
If you're happy in that marriage, then continue to make that happy. And if it's not, then, and it's not going to get better, then you need to head to the place that you need to be.
Absolutely.
Nate is very real.
Yeah.
I was saying, his boundaries are very real. So that's why, we keep those around us in our close circle that adopt the same kind of mindsets as we do. So, the jealous husband, the jealous wife, those don't really exist in our inner circle.
Yeah.
Everybody that we're friends with, they're supportive of their significant other and their goals, and because of our age, of course, everybody's gone through their university and gotten their degrees and whatever it is that they're they were working towards in their life. Nate and I, we did not get degrees or anything like this. We just kind of use life experience to get where we are. That's our thing. So, and our kids, we kind of support the same thing. Hey, if university isn't for you, that's okay. But what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So, we are a very goal-driven family. What are you doing in terms of taking steps towards your goal? What do you need in terms of achieving that goal? Do we need to put pen to paper? Do we need, I've spoken about this, in the group, about Jonah's goals and where he's going and what he needs to achieve, and also trying to pull back myself as a mom that just does everything for him, and pulling away from that role for me has, is a transition. I'm in that transition, trying to be supportive of him without doing it for him. Because I want him to learn how to do these things on his own. And I understand it's hard. I've been there, but, if he can figure out, how to do, whatever thing that he wants to do, he can figure out how to do this too.
Yeah.
So we're trying to, kind of coach him without telling him, hey, go do this, hey, go do that. So that's, part of our marriage is parenting these kids. And parenting a 22-year-old, quite different than parenting, the 10 and 6-year-old. So, and this is new to both of us, the first, and we get to learn with him. And, I've shared that with Jonah also.
Yeah. How did you guys come together so that maybe you guys aren't parenting the same, but you respect each other's parenting styles?
I think we're good cop, bad cop.
Sometimes, sure.
His first approach is always the most calm. And for me, I've gone through 12 hours of arguing with the kids already. So by the time he gets home, I'm not the most patient mom anymore. I have to deal with the waking up of the kids, the dressing the kids, the feeding the kids, that part, the rushing to class, that. So I'm the frantic one in the morning, trying to approach each day as a new day. Okay, the kids had a hard day yesterday. Let's try to make it better. What can we do? How can I react differently to the kids? So Nate gets a fresh slate when he gets home or when I get home with the kids and, Zeke is acting crazy and I'm like, oh, stop. I'm already annoyed. I'm already at my 10.
Yeah.
He comes in and now Zeke, is that what we need to be doing? And I'm like, I just walk away, and I let him handle it. I just, because he needs to dad too. So he takes over. He's the one with the more patience. So, and then when it gets to the point to where he needs to raise his voice, he does.
Yeah.
And the kids are like little soldiers, and they pay attention to dad because dad never gets to that,
Yeah.
To me, it's probably just wallpaper, they've seen it every day. So mom's just yelling again.
Yeah. With regards to your guys' relationship, when was there a struggle and how did you guys come out of that struggle together?
We can say recently, we've had a struggle. We've had some issues. Traveling for work has been one of those things that is stressful to us because she's at home trying to manage a business, trying to manage a house, trying to manage a family. And I'm just off running around, sitting in a hotel room somewhere. And it's not as fun as it sounds. I can just kind of run away from the wife, the kids, the house, the dogs and all that. But on the surface, it sounds kind of like, oh, I can sleep when I want to. And, you kind of have these instant, almost like parental luxuries. And it's not, because I'm thinking about what can I do or what should I be doing at home? It could be something as simple as doing yard work or cleaning up the garage. And then the real things of helping with the kids and the dogs, whatever it is, right? The basic life things that I feel like I'm missing out on or not getting to help with, to focus on. And it really is almost put me into a depression. I've had kind of a rough time for the last couple of months. And that's hurt us. It really has, because I haven't been able to communicate properly with Alex to be able to say, this is what my issue is. And I don't know what that is, why. It's something that we're kind of dealing with right now. It's new and fresh to us. And we're definitely, we've had different conversations than we normally do. And it's definitely made it tough for us. And we've done so well before. We don't argue. We don't fight. If you can go back in our 10 years total, we've probably had less than a handful of real, arguments or solid, fights, as you want to label them. But it's different now with traveling so much for work that not being able to be here. It's added stress on her. And then I have my own internal stress that I don't know if I'm creating or whatever that deal is, but it's not making it easy for us. So we're trying to work through that now and do that without just sliding it to the side and saying today's a good day. We'll just say with today, but really trying to have a conversation about the real part of it. And we've definitely sat and talked about what it is, what the concerns are with this current problem.
Yeah. What would you say are the things that you keep in?
Everything.
Well, yeah, that's what I was trying to get at too. I'm trying to be mindful of how I ask this question as well. You mentioned feeling, you're away, and it's not as if you get to sleep when you want and hang out and you don't have the kids. What would you say is the hardest part about being away?
It's boredom, I think, is part of it. There's a lot of, and it's sort of silly sounding, but sometimes Alex and I in the evening are just kind of laying in bed watching whatever junk TV, and we're both on our phones or our computers or whatever. We're doing nothing, but we're doing nothing together.
Yeah.
And I definitely feel I would rather be doing nothing together than doing nothing alone. It's a weird, I think the word most people would use is like I'm missing her or missing the family. Sometimes it's missing the chaos.
Yeah.
But there's definitely something missing when I'm out there alone. And sometimes it's just stress over trying to figure out what to eat. I'm kind of picky in my diet and what I eat. And I just get frustrated and then just don't eat dinner that night,
Yeah.
So it's simple things like that. You just don't have the comforts in a hotel room that you do at home. It's not your same bed. It's not your same bathroom. It's not your same anything. And it's just not fun at all. It's for work, which doesn't help at all either.
Yeah.
But it's not going away on vacation. It's really going away because work is telling me I need to or have to. And that just really wears on me, especially when it's week after week after week. And I can come home on Friday late night, have Saturday to wash all my work clothes and get everything back together. Then Sunday midday, I'm out again, heading to wherever I'm going, whether it's flying out or driving out. And it gets old real fast. And then we have a good family support unit. We have a good plan. We've done this enough that it's not a big deal to do. Right? We have a plan. Everything's kind of in order. Everything's working fine. But as soon as something else comes up, you got an added, something goes wrong at the house, needs to be fixed, or there's a condo, right? We were dealing with renters that they need help with something. It could be something simple, but we have a plan and everything's kind of going smoothly. But as soon as something adds in different, something breaks, something this gets added in there, the stress gets heightened for both of us. And I'm not home to take care of something simple that I could have done in 30 minutes. And she's trying to find, somebody to come into the house to fix that for us.
Yeah.
It definitely is. I've said something as simple as like, I'm lazy at the hotel room, and I'd rather be, I'd rather be able to be lazy or choose not to be at home, choose to be lazy or choose to be doing whatever I'm doing, but have that option to do it at home.
How does that impact your marriage?
Lately, especially, it's added stress for sure.
Yeah.
It's added some level of, there's been pain and hurt a couple times. And I think that's because I haven't been able to communicate my stresses. We've almost kind of, without professional help, we've almost labeled it as like a depression for me. Again, not trying to really label it and boil it down to that, but it's kind of in that neighborhood, right? I don't have the ability to, or haven't had the ability to make myself happy, to be positive, to help us. It really has just been kind of
uncertain, I feel, is what he is right now. What do I do? Do I advance in my job? Do I ask for a location change? Do I ask for a title change? What do I do? I really enjoy my my job. He does enjoy training. That's, his passion. He's really good at it. Is this what I need to do to change, the direction that I'm going? So I think it's really just examining those things in his life and figuring out where he needs to go from here. So right now he's just in that lost phase of, what's next for me. And I can definitely understand that because, I've been through these transitions where I flounder. Yeah. Especially when you're people that are very, very certain of ourselves. We know what we want out of life. We know, where we're going at any point in time. And then when we hit these things where we're like in these uncharted waters, we're like, what do I do next? We're not the type of people that don't know what we have to do next. We're very certain in what the next step is. Yeah. And we're usually very confident in our decisions to move forward. And so I think with uncertainty in our lives, it kind of just like stunts whatever's happening. It's like, okay, well, we could be having all these joyful moments, but something is not right with me. Yeah. The moment is there, but it's not as exciting.
Yeah. So a good amount of couples get to this place where they realize something's going on and they'll both handle it in their own ways, and they'll both kind of suffer silently, right? And I love that you guys keep on using the word uncertainty. Because, your relationship hasn't been in this mode where you don't have the answers or you're in this place where it's like, okay, wait a minute. How do we address this? How do we come together to address this? And I appreciate the fact that, Nate, you're so willing to go ahead and even say this out loud, because what I find most men do is they'll keep it to themselves and then they'll come home. And then they'll be irritated and frustrated. And, the wife is like, well, wait a minute, you've been gone this whole time. I get to spend like 2 days with you or 3 days or a week with you until you leave again, for work. Why can't we just enjoy this time? Right. And that might be happening here as well. One thing that really, really helps couples that I've seen work is, although this is hard, although this is difficult, being able to be open and honest about it. Alex, with you doing the work on yourself and the work that you and I have done together, you're able to be in a place where you're not necessarily taking this on as yours. And that's where a lot of wives go. They'll automatically take it on. Their husband is hurting. Their husband is struggling. So we need to take it on. And now it's our struggle. And now it's my pain. But what ends up happening with that is the couple ends up drowning together, right?
During this time, I have responded accordingly. I've also responded badly. Yeah. I realize and recognize when he's going through these issues, and I just take a deep breath and I walk away, Yeah. Okay. Well, he's just frustrated with something else. It's not me. I'm not taking it personally. And then, at some point I did break, and I told him, I'm like, I recognize that you're going through this stuff, but I cannot just be a punching bag. Yeah. So I'm appreciating where you're at. I'm supporting where you're at. But,
I can't take this on.
Yeah. This is how I feel today. Yeah. And so I want you to acknowledge that this is the way I'm feeling right now. Yep. And we can move on from here, and we had it out and we got back to normal. Yeah. But I needed that, a release, I guess. The pressure valve release was okay, I can't take it today. Yeah. And I don't know necessarily what the trigger is, or, maybe it was just too many, piling on, and I'm not releasing that, because I don't want to pile more on him. No. He's already feeling bad, and that's not fair for me to do, because if I was in his position, I wouldn't want him to pile on to me. Yeah. So I think it's just really appreciating and understanding where your partner is at whatever moment is, and supporting that, even if it's a bad thing. Yeah. If you're not feeling well, you've got to be supportive of that person just as the same as if they're doing well. Yeah. So
she had a big moment that we kind of needed, where she said, like she said, I'm not a punching bag. And it was a conversation starter for us where she just said, listen, this is not okay. This is not what we need to be doing. And we were able to sit down, and I was able to kind of open up and tell her what I was feeling. And for me, it was very simple. Like, I don't feel like I'm me right now. This isn't normal me.
Yeah.
And she was able to understand where I was at, but still saying the same thing. Like, okay, well, we still can't be where we're at. We need to be headed in the right direction. We're not headed in the right direction right now. We're headed in a bad direction. So,
and this wasn't the first time that we talked about it. So this was a shock, so he had brought this to my attention, a few weeks back. And so kind of like the boiling point was just a bring it back to the surface type of thing.
Yeah.
It's still here, it's not gone, and this is where we're at. So it's just kind of like, you do that, like you get the happy moments in between, and it's not us that's suffering. It's not us. It's him just for now, and yes, it does spill over, onto us. But I think that's important to not forget that there is somebody that is struggling in the relationship.
Yeah. Nate, you mentioned something really key. It's sort of like missing that monotony, even if it's, from home. Like, I know there's chaos. I know, there's an ongoing routine at home, but I don't get to be a part of that routine. And here I am, in my hotel room. And although I do enjoy my work, I'm working, but I'm away from my family.
Now, this has happened a couple of times, and it's been stressful. And we've had a conversation. Alex says, usually it's a kind of a cycle for me.
Yeah.
So specifically for work, yes, you're traveling right now, but it'll slow down in a couple of months, and then we'll be back kind of to normal, and it'll be rare that you travel as much. But I've been traveling a lot lately, so it's been adding and adding. So it's something that we need to focus on more, to how it's affecting me specifically, right? And then how it's affecting us. So it's something that I need to do. And I know that, and we're better than we were a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
But it's still not perfect. Yeah. It's not, we're not having issues. We're not, stressing each other, but it's something that
something's missing.
Yeah. And then the future, right? We're kind of looking at the future, and is travel for my work going to be like it's been? And it looks like it has. So it's something that we need to look at to see, how do we better that? How do we deal with that issue? And then, like she mentioned, do I need to see if there's a different place I need to go to make me happy? I love my job. I love what I do, but it has a negative. That's a negative for me. That's a big negative for me right now.
So where I want to go is I want to go towards understanding what this is like for you. Because sure, we can say, all right, let's look at another job, and sure, we can say, well, maybe the family comes and visits. We can quickly, add a Band-Aid to all of this. But the reality is there's a struggle. There's an evident struggle. What do you wish Alex knew that she doesn't know right now?
I think I'm pretty open with the things that stress me out about the job, about like travel. I think is more specific.
I'm referring more to, Nate, what is it like to be in that hotel room?
It's just bored. It's boring. I think one time we went somewhere together, and it sounds so silly. But just trying to figure out what to eat. And, sometimes at home you kind of hear that cliche, like, what do you want to eat? Oh, whatever you want. Like, let's go to pizza. I'm like, no, I don't want pizza.
Yeah.
I do that with myself in a hotel room every single night, trying to figure out what to eat for dinner. And sometimes I'll travel for a week and eat the same exact thing, 3 meals a day for 5 days while I'm gone. And just so I don't have to deal with something that simple. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to deal with it. And I don't know why that's become a big deal for me, but just eating, it just is absolutely annoying sometimes.
Now that you say that, like, I'm thinking of our trip to Napa And my description of how I am with the kids by the time I get home, I'm at a 10. And when we went to go eat somewhere with our friends and there wasn't something for him to eat, he is already at a 10.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I'm not staying here. Boom, he walked off. And our friends are really great in that they don't like react like, oh my God, you know, go get him, you know, and, you know, they were just like, okay, well, we're going to sit here and we're going to eat here. So if he wants to go find another place, he can go, you know, and that's just the way that they are. And I'm like, well, you know, this is his birthday weekend. I'm going to let him go find a spot and then I'm going to call him and I let him go, you know, just kind of walk off and go do his thing. And then I was like, hey, where are you? And then I made a decision. Okay, do I want to stay here with my friends or do I want to go with my husband? And he was at a fun pub. You know, he had already found a nice grilled cheese sandwich and he was having a good time over there. So I'm like, all right, I'll walk over. Yeah. You know, and then afterwards we joined the group back together and had cocktails. And
that was weird because I didn't want to make a big scene about not finding, because I have some diet restrictions and whatever is involved there. And sometimes, you know, and I'm picky on top of that. And instead of just not eating and kind of being there, I get grumpy sometimes with food and it just seemed easier. Like, hey, I'm just going to go off somewhere else. I'm going to go grab something to eat. And I see where that could be a big deal, right? Where I'm like leaving the group and kind of pissy but just give me a moment and I'll be fine and we'll all be good together. And I don't know why it seems terrible. We're talking about my complaints about food and how that could be a stressor in life. But it definitely is one of those sort of whiny things that I do, that food is an important thing to me.
No, I get that, but I think it goes farther than that. And here's why. It's the time that you are with your family. And so you automatically know that time is very much limited. And so for you, you're going in to that time spent, not necessarily with this agenda, but kind of, you want every single moment with your family to be right. You want every single moment with your family where it's this love and it's this connection that you're yearning for that you don't get when you're away. And so although it might seem like from the outside looking in, you know, oh goodness, he's complaining about food. No, the primary complaint is I'm finally here with my family or I'm finally here with friends, but I'm finally here and I want to be able to enjoy it. I want to be able to truly enjoy this moment. And if anything goes wrong, well, then that's 5 minutes, that's 10 minutes, or that's half an hour that is already impacting me. And I don't have that to waste because come Monday or come Sunday, I'm leaving again. Is that about right?
Yeah, I definitely, sometimes it feels like it's a control thing. Like I'm wanting to control the situation to where it's happy for me. And then kind of happy for us. Yes, I do feel that. But I don't want to like take full control, but sometimes, if I let it go, then I don't get what I want or don't get what I'm looking for.
Yep.
And definitely adds a level of stress to me.
Hell yeah. Stress, frustration.
Yeah. And it can be something as simple as just where to eat. And
that's the biggest one. It's like it kills him. He's like, see, this is why we need to make reservations. I need to look at the menu and blah blah blah, you know.
Yeah.
And okay, well, the agenda was made. This is how my friend addressed it. He goes, the agenda was made and sent out. You had time to look.
Yeah.
You know, on the surface, yes, of course.
On the surface,
you did have time to look, right? But if you're traveling and you're doing stuff and I'm not here to be like, hey, did you look at the, you know, be in his ear, you know, take a look at where we're going. I don't look. If someone's planning my whole entire vacation, shoot, I'm happy, you know, I'm happy. But, you know, and they did take consideration of his, you know, being a vegetarian. So, you know, they pick pasta places and they try to pick around, you know, his eating, you know, which is amazing of them to do. And, you know, it didn't work.
It just didn't work out.
The reservations weren't whoever was taking the notes didn't put us down, and it turned into like something that was completely arranged to something that was completely crazy,
chaotic.
So
I like more of a set plan that's smooth, and especially when it's away from home. Yep. I like a plan. I like it laid out. I have like the expectations. I can't just sort of free form whatever food is going to be. I've spent hours in a hotel room figuring out what I'm going to eat for dinner that night. No, not this place. Oh, it's too late. And that place is closing, or that doesn't take my work, doesn't take Amex or something for work. And it's all those little things that I have to like think about. And oh my goodness, we're here talking about what I'm trying to eat for dinner.
No, but the thing is, the reason why I'm still going with it, again, it goes back to, you just said it. I'm in a hotel room. I have to have these things organized. I have to have these things planned. So guess what it's like when you're on vacation? You're being triggered because once again, you're back into that same state. You're in that same state of, I have to figure things out. I have to have things planned. I have to have things ordered. It's not going my way. But now, instead of you being in a hotel room by yourself, you're here with your wife and this is happening. You're here with friends and this is happening. So hell to the yes, it's going to be a trigger for you because this is time you don't get. It's not. And so for you got automatically go into that panic mode. And then Alex, you might even see this happening and you're with friends and, you feel as if they've coordinated everything and they've made adjustments and feel as if, well, wait a minute, Nate, they've gone out of their way to please you. Why aren't you seeing this? And that's where the disconnect happens. You're seeing it from one end. He's seeing it from another end, which is fine. But where you guys are missing the mark is this is a definite trigger for Nate because, again, it puts him back into that cycle and into that mode of, crap, I'm feeling it again. I'm feeling those frustrations again, and nobody understands.
Mm-hmm. I've also tried to, as you know how I am, I always try to fix things.
Yeah.
So I have suggested before in the past that he not take a nap when he get home.
Yeah.
Go eat immediately and then take a nap, and it doesn't work for him. He likes to come home. He likes to take a nap. He likes to get up, take a shower, go find something to eat. But I just think, well, if you didn't take a nap, you could find more options, so this is my thinking, you know, and Nate is like, listen, woman, I don't want this reality check, I want to go home and take a nap. Okay, cool. So then, afterwards I just, I'm like, I'm not going to tell him anything. He'll figure it out.
Bingo. Well, what would it be like if instead of going to fixing, what if you were able to understand?
And
I do now.
Well, now, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Just talking to you right now, the light bulb went on, like a couple minutes ago, and he was talking about this. I'm like, I'm at a level 10 when I get home, and he still has the patience, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, he's at a level 10 when we're on the food situation,
Bingo.
and I have the patience,
Bingo.
So that's why I was like, okay, now I've always understood that that was his issue, but now it's, it helps to talk things through and just kind of get a little bit more clarity on, what seems stupid and silly to Nate, isn't stupid and silly to me because I see him how he's like, exploding, and I'm like, okay, and I try to just let the explosion happen and, stay away from it.
I just need to carry a Snickers bar with me all the time.
Yeah. I mean, that would help, but that would be a temporary fix. So let me ask.
I definitely do bring snacks when we leave the house. Just so we're clear.
Well,
I plan ahead for
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, so let me ask you something, Nate. What would it be like, just kind of like even right now, us having this conversation, what would it be like if Alex was able to say, hey, I get it. You're frustrated. I get you're overwhelmed. And I can understand now that this is taking you back to, to your time alone in the hotel. I can understand right now that this frustration isn't even at me. What would that be like?
I still feel frustrated with myself that I can get to that point and that it's necessary to do all this.
I'm so glad you said that. Yep.
And when it's happening, I don't care. I've even tried like to think ahead, right? When we're going to go out to, a family barbecue or whatever. And I'm like, what are we eating? What are we eating? And she's like, I don't know, whatever and whenever. And so I try to kind of think about, and it's so silly that this is what I get frustrated over. And then that kind of, that kind of sits in my head that I know that this is what I'm not okay with it. I understand that it's part of, me right now, but still not happy with this is the silly thing that stresses me out.
Yeah.
And I have to rely on, what I'm going to eat and when to be happy sometimes.
Well, yeah. So when Alex goes to fixing, right? With you should take a nap, you should do these things. It sounds like, for you, it's like, okay, I should go to sleep. I know that, but I'm not doing it. But if I do go to sleep, then that's still time away from you. If I do all of these things, if I do reset, it's still now again, time away from my family. That's the part that I'm hitting harder towards. So with your current struggle and you feeling as if there's this uncertainty and there's this loss with you not being home, what do you need more of from the family? What do you need more of from Alex? Not necessarily to fix you, but to help support you.
That's a tough question because we can't just fix it, right? By me being home more, because that's not going to happen. We can't just solve that problem like that. She's done some kind of on her own by like calling me more at night when I'm away and just kind of doing our regular just
banter,
chit chat while we're laying in bed, and sometimes it's talking about the day, whatever happened, whether silliness, or seriousness, and sometimes it's pointing the phone like, oh, look at this funny meme, or whatever. Or what are you laughing at over there? What's so funny? I want to know it. So sometimes she's just I think more lately called me and kind of spent more live time, because normally we just kind of text throughout the night when I'm not home, and we just kind of go off into it's almost like we just
worlds.
We just go off into our own
I just get used to him not being here, and it's like I have 3 hours at home to cook, showers, whatever things the kids need, and then at 8:00 it's like, okay, I get to sit down. The dogs are in their cages and I get to settle down. And sometimes I do forget to call him, or I don't want to call and wake him up, or, things like that, or things that go through my mind. Of course, it's just my mind. It's probably not even happening. He's probably up and doing something.
He's shaking his head. No, you guys just hit the mark though. Being closer, spending more time together, even during that downtime, not fixing, not going into this is now mine, and personalizing where he's currently at, and even taking on his struggle, more so understanding it in a sense of he can be in this space and I can still continue my day to day. I can still love him and not take it on or even personalize his frustrations. Because I've seen a lot of women go into, well, my husband's pissed, my husband's overwhelmed, and he's frustrated. And so what women tend to do is they overcompensate and they start to do more and more. And then they'll try to keep everything cool and calm, sort of end up walking on eggshells just so they don't poke the bear. But what ends up happening is the husband feels completely withdrawn and isolated. And wait a minute, nobody's talking to me. And my wife's now pissed off at me because she's not really saying anything, which causes him to feel more and more alone and withdrawn and sort of rejected, and then there's this disconnect that happens. Alex, with the work you've done, with you and I coaching, you've been able to go ahead and separate yourself from personalizing this and seeing my husband struggling, and I can still connect with him. I can still love him. I don't have to take this on. And I love how you said earlier of, I still need to work on myself, even though my husband's here. And I can love him because that's going to encourage him to go ahead and work on himself too.
Yeah, I think to me, what I always look for is support.
Yeah.
It may not be like, yeah, put a freaking stamp of approval on what I'm doing, but I'm looking for support in something. So to me, that's what I wanted to make sure that he knew, whatever steps you want to take, you let me know. If you want to switch to a different job title or whatever, we will figure it out together. If that's what you feel your next step is, that's fine. If you want to stay exactly where you are, I'm okay. We'll continue doing what we want to do if, what you want to do, and I'll be there to support you no matter what. And so to me, that's key for myself. And I had posted a little question to you, which I don't know if you responded or not, but the love languages, is, how we like to be loved, is that the way that we express our love to others as well? Because for me, it's like acts of service. Because he's not here, so when he folds towels, even though he goes slow, I'm methodical. I love that. I love that. I love that he does it with me, because that to me, or he's helping with the kids' clothes and stuff. Yeah. To me is like, okay, he's a part of us, he's helping out. And so, that's why I posed the question, do I do the acts of service? Because I love giving gifts, he loves giving gifts too. Yeah. And we're like, oh, look what I got you, and we're waiting to see everybody's smiling face, And so I'm like, is that the way we show that we love people too? Because I feel like that's what I do, is I'm like, I'm always trying to do things for people to make them happy.
Yeah. I think I know the biggest thing, especially kind of watching you both right now, the biggest thing you can do is work on yourself. The biggest and greatest thing you can do is work on yourself, because then you won't personalize where your partner's at, and you'll be more of a support than a fixer. And right now, from what Nate said is, I want to be fixed. I want to spend time with my family. And when I spend time with my family, that time is very, very valuable. And I don't want it to be us arguing. I want it to be us connecting. And another thing I appreciate about what Nate said is, I will share these things with my wife because I can, because she is being supportive. She is being, open to those lines of communication. However, if you guys did not have that skill, and you guys did not have that type of relationship that you guys have both really, really worked on, then what would end up happening is, and I see this all the time, the man would shut down and completely disconnect. Not on purpose, not because he wants to, but because, the only thing I'm good for is work. And when I'm home, then I'm just going to go back to the day-to-day tasks, and that's it. What's beautiful about the two of you is you guys are able to have those uncomfortable conversations because you're both willing to listen.
Yeah, for sure.
Go ahead.
I think at the beginning of our relationship, when we were both still kind of like, I don't know what to call it. He was probably fine, but I felt like I was like trauma mode, and so I didn't know how to communicate something just so simple, where he just was like, well, just tell me to pick it up off the floor. Or just tell me to take the trash. Like, why are you mad? And I don't like when you just close off and you're not talking to me. I think that was like one of the light bulbs that went off in my head, that I can't just clam up and not talk to him when I'm mad. I need to tell him. So the expectation that I had for him wasn't communicated to him. Like, hey, it's important that you do this, And so now I think we're, many years into our relationship, that it's just, it's an easy relationship. Mm-hmm. So when we get to these little bumps,
which we will all experience, including myself.
Yeah, it's hard to navigate when we don't know, but I think talking, about these things has helped a lot.
So both of you, we're going to go ahead and wrap up here, because I know you have your family time and you're with your family, Nate, and I don't want to take away from that. What piece of advice would you give to the couple that is listening right now?
It's support even through, I'll say trauma.
Yeah.
The support even through trauma, and still asking questions like, what is wrong? What is going on? What can I do even additionally? Right.
Mm-hmm.
What do you need from me now? Because it's different. For instance, for us, it's different right now. So asking that question, kind of getting it out there is however that works, right? However, vocalizing and getting to communicate that problem and what the issue is, and then that will lead, or has led, or at least for us, to more conversations about it, and starts to lead towards the solution. Yeah. Resolve. And at least if nothing else, it's not going to make everything better for me, but it makes it better for us to be able to communicate and at least know where we are at.
Yep. I agree. And then for you, Alex, how has reclaiming your own identity reignited your marriage?
I feel like no matter what choices in life that I choose to do, he's going to always be there for me. So it's given me the confidence. His support on his side for everything that I do has been tremendous in just, I don't want to say allowing me, but allowing me to be able to choose whatever path I want to go next, So I know that no matter what I decide to do, I know that he's going to be like, yeah, let's go, let's do this, you go, you do that. I can support you from here. Yeah. So it really is amazing to have a supportive partner. Mm-hmm. That to me it gives you confidence to take your next step in whatever direction you want to go. You're not like, oh, I don't think I can do this. No. Yeah. You got your cheerleader here,
Yep.
Going to support you, and no matter what, you're going to have that support.
Absolutely. Both of you, thank you so much for coming on. I'm so glad we just kind of went with it. I'm so glad. Thank you, guys. Thank you for trusting me too, especially us recording. I don't know if you guys remember we were recording.
Whoops. We said too much.
Well, thank you guys so much.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Many women lose their own identity in the shadow of being a mom and a wife. We are a community of women who support each other. We leave perfectionism behind to become empowered and unapologetic. I want to personally invite you to join our Girl Gang. It's a free Facebook community for women just like you. Go to www.facebook.com/groups/empowered and unapologetic. See you there. What's up, ladies? Just want to let you guys know that your ratings and reviews for this podcast are greatly appreciated. If you love this podcast, please go to iTunes right now, write a review, rate the episode, and subscribe. Don't forget to share it with your friends.
I know we've been taught that motherhood requires alcohol. I know we've been taught not to question our relationship with alcohol until we've lost everything. And I know we've been taught that if we do dare to examine our relationship with alcohol, we need to head straight to AA and declare ourselves an alcoholic who is powerless to alcohol forever. But what if all that isn't true? That's definitely not my story. I'm Suzanne, the host of the Sober Mom Life podcast. I'm an influencer who stopped drinking in January 2020, and since then, I've been telling the truth about motherhood, influencing, alcohol, and sobriety. If you suspect deep down that glass or 3 of wine at night might just be making motherhood harder, well, you're right. Come and join me as I chat with other sober and sober-curious moms. Let's laugh, cry, and normalize sobriety together, all while we reheat our coffee for the 4th time today.
Addiction impacts all of us. Addiction's consequences run through all of us. From ourselves to our loved ones and to our communities, addiction creates so much loss and grief. My name is Dwayne Osterlin, and I'm the host of the Addicted Mind podcast, a show featuring personal stories, expert guests, and vital information about addiction and addiction recovery. We'll talk with leading treatment providers to discuss the latest research and treatment options for this devastating disease and advocate for mental health awareness. We discuss topics like the importance of creating a community of support to helping loved ones to some of the latest research on psychedelic medicines. The Addicted Mind podcast has been about creating hope, listening to stories of many amazing people that have overcome addiction and are thriving. If you or a loved one is struggling with addiction, subscribe to the Addicted Mind podcast wherever you get your podcasts or check out theaddictedmind.com. New episodes every Monday. See you there.
Hey there, this is Casey McGuire Davidson, host of the Hello Someday podcast. I'm an ex-red wine girl turned life coach who helps busy women change their relationship with alcohol. I spent 20 years climbing the corporate ladder while drinking a bottle of wine a night to unwind. In the Hello Someday podcast, my goal is to teach you the tried and true secrets of creating and living a life you don't want to escape from. Each week, I'll bring you tools, lessons, and conversations to help you drink less and live more. I'll teach you how to navigate our drinking-obsessed culture without a buzz and how to turn the decision to stop drinking from your worst-case scenario to the best decision of your life. You can find new episodes of the Hello Someday podcast every Thursday, wherever you listen, and I hope you check it out. Hey there, this is Casey McGuire Davidson, host of the Hello Someday podcast. I'm an ex-red wine girl turned life coach who helps busy women change their relationship with alcohol. I spent 20 years climbing the corporate ladder while drinking a bottle of wine a night to unwind. In the Hello Someday podcast, my goal is to teach you the tried and true secrets of creating and living a life you don't want to escape from. Each week, I'll bring you tools, lessons, and conversations to help you drink less and live more. I'll teach you how to navigate our drinking-obsessed culture without a buzz and how to turn the decision to stop drinking from your worst-case scenario to the best decision of your life. You can find new episodes of the Hello Someday podcast every Thursday, wherever you listen, and I hope you check it out.
Addiction impacts all of us. Addiction's consequences run through all of us. From ourselves to our loved ones and through our communities, addiction creates so much loss and grief. My name is Dwayne Osterlin, and I'm the host of the Addicted Mind podcast, a show featuring personal stories, expert guests, and vital information about addiction and addiction recovery. We'll talk with leading treatment providers to discuss the latest research and treatment options for this devastating disease and advocate for mental health awareness. We discuss topics like the importance of creating a community of support to helping loved ones to some of the latest research on psychedelic medicines. The Addicted Mind podcast has been about creating hope, listening to stories of many amazing people that have overcome addiction and are thriving. If you or a loved one is struggling with addiction, subscribe to the Addicted Mind podcast wherever you get your podcasts or check out theaddictedmind.com. New episodes every Monday. See you there.
Oh, hey, it's Erin.
And I'm Michaela, and we're the hosts of the Two Sober Girls podcast, and we are on a mission to spill the wild truth about sobriety.
Forget the rosé all day cliche. Sobriety is flipping amazing.
Absolutely. It's not just about quitting the drink. It's a gift you give yourself and your loved ones.
So what are you waiting for? Break up with that old toxic relationship with alcohol and let us show you the possibilities.
And here's the thing. Everything your precious heart desires becomes way easier without the influence of alcohol.
We're not just two sober girls. We're also wellness coaches. We're here to show you how to optimize health, lifestyle, and beauty, feel sexy and alive as F.
So stay tuned because we're rolling out new episodes every Monday wherever you get your podcasts, and trust us, they have your name written all over them. We can't wait to share the magic of sobriety and wellness with you. Subscribe to Two Sober Girls podcast today and come follow us on Instagram for behind the scenes action and send us a DM. We can't wait to meet you.